'Cause
My instructions. Yeah, I did that. I did that. Come on. Ah! Oh, there I am. Whoa. Okay. Okay, so do we have any? Oh, we do. Okay. All right. Hi. Let me just. Oh, good. Oh, hi, Xander. Let me let you. Oh, Xander, I'm gonna let you in. Oh, shoot. Let me unmute everybody. Uh, okay. Oh, good. Okay. Hi, Xander. You can hear. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't have to yell. Jan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's our first time trying it on this platform. Yes. Uh-huh. Right. Yes, Natasha, that other platform was very weird. And yes, that student came in that we did not, yes, but those were older students. And we are on this new safe. Yes, we are safe. They were from, no, they were not from our school. No, they were not from kindergarten. Those words were not from kindergarten. Oh, they were definitely big boys and girls from some programming, robotics program or something. Anyway, they're not here today. Okay. Okay, that's a quorum. Oh, what's a quorum? It means I have enough to tell our principal that we had a class. Yes. Okay, we had a class. We had kindergarten. Very good. Okay. Yes, Xander. Yes, everybody. Okay. Go ahead. You're all muted. Oh, wow. Okay, more parents. Okay. Uh, okay. And okay. Hi. Okay, Natasha's mom's. Oh, Skies, Kevin, Karen. Hi. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the calendar and let. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna just. I was just gonna do the. Yeah, I was gonna do the. What? Wait, hold on. There we go. The calendar. Um, it's April. Let me turn this. Everybody can see the. Hey, my daughter made me this very cute sign. There we go. Um. Oh, hey. Where are all the kids? Oh, all right. Sure. No, I know that can be stressful. Sky's mommy. um, yes. Is anyone else having that? Sure. Okay, Robert's dad. You want to share? No, no. Please, sir. The tears are not. Hmm. Oh, I'm so. I wish I could hand you a virtual tissue. Okay. Yes, I know that song. It's all right to cry. Yes. And okay, well, I guess all the kids are gone, so none of them are seeing grown parents sobbing. Okay. Morning routine is very I put on some tutorials. You're welcome to watch, or there's links to other teachers if you don't want them to watch me going through the. No? Okay. Yes, you need to give them breaks. You have hashtag self care. You know what? They say turn off the media. And so we turn off the media and focus on our children and making them happy. Oh, no, that didn't help. Okay. Um, hmm. Well, our time is running out here. I appreciate all the real feelings, emotions coming at me. I'm going to mute you all and leave the meeting. Maybe I should schedule a parent meeting where we can all talk more about this. And I'd love to next time, though, keep the kids on the camera. That would be awesome. Thank you guys. And this lesson is ended. Leaving Oh gosh, it won't let me leave.
I was born with a bump over my right eye. It was a relatively small bump, about the size of an unlicked Tootsie Pop, but it pushed down against my eyelid so that my eye always remained half closed. Or if you're an optimist, I guess you could say it remained half open. Some of the meaner kids at my school would run away from me in the halls, shouting things like, "Here comes the Cyclops." But it wasn't just my eye bump that made me a social outcast. My family had emigrated from Morocco, and we lived in a town that was pretty much all white, all middle class, and all American. While I desperately wanted to fit in, that wasn't something anyone in my family could easily do. But everything changed the day my second grade teacher announced that our class would be putting on a production of Cinderella for the whole school to see. Or at least it almost changed that day. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, there was the audition process. There were no scripts. Instead, we were asked to get up in front of the class and basically riff. After that, the kids would vote on who got to play the parts. I was content to watch quietly while the other children auditioned for the parts of the evil stepfamily, the fairy godmother, the king, the queen, and the prince. But when it was time to audition for the role of Cinderella, I raised my hand. Of course, the popular girls were picked first. They were the pretty girls with blonde hair and cute dresses. Then the mid-level girls went up. And finally, it was time for the misfits. We were the ones who got snickered at as we walked to the front of the room. I was the last misfit to go up. For my audition, I picked the part of the story where Cinderella is left home alone after the others have gone to the ball. I don't remember my exact words, but I do remember feeling genuinely sorry for myself. I talked about the cruelty of my stepsisters, not the cruelty of my classmates, but the feelings were the same. As I worked myself up into a fever pitch of self-pity, I could feel tears and snot run down my face. But I wasn't ashamed, for at that moment, I was all alone in my own little corner by the fireplace. When I finished, the classroom was silent. I made my way back to my desk feeling odd, as if my feet were too far away. And then Mrs. Scott asked us to vote. It came as no surprise, at least not to me, when I was chosen to play Cinderella. You see, back then, I believed in the Cinderella story. The next day, I wore my best dress to school. It was a pink lacy thing that my mom had made for me to wear to her friend's daughter's communion. Not knowing anything about theater and having no notion of rehearsals, I assumed that we would be putting on the play that day, and I wanted to look my best. To my disappointment, the day passed and the subject was never brought up. The following day, I wore my pink dress again, but again, no mention of Cinderella. On the third day of wearing the pink dress, I loitered in the classroom during recess, hoping to get some info out of Mrs. Scott. A bolder girl would have just asked her teacher what the hell was going on. But boldness wasn't really my thing. Mrs. Scott shooed me out of the room, and to demonstrate what a good girl I was, I obeyed without saying a word. On the fourth day of wearing the pink dress, a boy asked me if that was the only dress I owned. It wasn't until the afternoon of the fourth day that a girl in our class asked Mrs. Scott when we were doing the play. "Oh, we're not doing that anymore," Mrs. Scott said. "It's been canceled." It was a matter-of-fact sort of announcement, like it was no big deal. And so I never did get to be Cinderella, except maybe in my mind. But it was okay. Life went on. And anyway, let's face it, Cinderella is a timid little mouse who never does anything to help herself. So, you know, screw that.
So you hear the phrase, the show must go on, a lot, and it's true. The show always goes on, and I've had a lot of close calls. You know, like there was a time I was working a cruise ship out to Hawaii. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and there's a huge storm, but the show had to go on. I'm doing the show that night, and I had a very physical magic act. I'd run around a lot, and I'm running across the stage, and you lift up your foot, and the stage is already there before you put it down, you know, because the ship is rocking like this. People got sick. It was crazy, but the show's got to go on, right? And once I was working a one-nighter gig out in New Jersey, and Chris Rock picks me up at the Improv. We drive out there on the interstate, and we're late because he's late picking me up. And Chris is a very funny guy, but he's a very slow driver. So we're doing 40 miles an hour on the interstate for an hour out to this gig in New Jersey, and we're late. And I think they're going to cancel the show, but nope. People show up. If people show up, the show's got to go on. You got to go on. And there was a time when I was in Bermuda. And there were 7 people in the audience in this little nightclub somewhere in Bermuda. And got up on stage, and I did about 30 minutes of jokes, and nobody laughed the whole time. And I got off the stage, and I apologized to the booker. I said, I'm sorry, I guess they don't like me. And he said, no, it's not you. No, see, they're all French. They don't speak English. They just got off a cruise ship. They thought you were introducing the band, and you were just taking a really long time. And once I'm doing a college gig with my buddy Mark Neiser and somewhere up in Michigan, and we were each going to do, I'm going to do an hour of magic, he's going to do an hour of juggling, and the kids are showing us the theater at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this big theater, and the lights coming in through the window, the sunlight, and I look around and I realize there are no stage lights. And the kids say, oh, well, they took them away to be cleaned. And I said, well, guys, you know, 8 o'clock tonight, it's going to be dark. There's not going to be any sun. You don't have any stage lights. I'm a magician. He's a juggler. They need to see us. And so they're thinking they have to cancel the show. And I thought, no. All right, kids, everybody go back to your dorm room. Get your desk lamps off your desk and bring them back in. We plugged in all the desk lamps on the apron of the stage, pointed them at the stage, and we had a show. So the show's got to go on. If people show up, you've got to put on the show. And we always talk about small audiences. Even if there's one person, even if there's 2 people, you've got to put on the show. But the smallest crowd I ever worked for, I was booked to do the Comedy Cellar, my home club in New York, in Greenwich Village, one night. It's 1985 or 86 or something like that. And it's a Tuesday night in February, and there's a big blizzard. And if you've ever been to New York in February during a blizzard, it's awful. It's like it's cold. It's like stupid degrees outside. It's freezing. And I wasn't doing stand-up back then. I was doing just straight pantomime magic. I was the only person working nightclubs who didn't speak. So I had a big trunk full of magic stuff that I would bring with me. It had wheels, and I would wheel it down the sidewalk and down to the subway. But, you know, it's blizzard, you know, so I hailed a cab, splurged on a cab, and I get down there, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? They're going to cancel the show. It's a blizzard. It's Tuesday. It's February. There's not going to be anybody there. And that's exactly what it was. I got to the club. There's nobody in the club. There's nobody on the streets. I'm freezing. You know, I've got my stupid little trunk. And I went up to the owner and I said, Manny, I think you're going to cancel the show, right? And he said, no, we're not canceling the show. I said, there's nobody here. He said, no, I want you to go up on the stage. Do your 22 minutes. And I said, Manny, there's nobody here. And he said, aha. In case somebody comes in. You see, if they come in, they'll see that you're up on the stage there doing your show, and they'll think there's a show going on, and they'll stay. So go do your show. I thought, Manny, the waitresses have seen my act. I need volunteers from the audience. I bring them up on the stage, and he insisted. So I went up, and I started doing my show, and the music's playing. I'm doing my little tricks to nobody. And I was up there for 22 minutes, and not a single person came in. So that's it. The smallest crowd I ever performed for was nobody. But the show went on. The show's got to go on. And I know a lot of you had tickets to things, and I know a lot of you were performing and had gigs, and eventually this is all going to be over. And you know what? The show's going to go on. See you at the show.
Hi, my name is James J. Cox, and I'm going to read you a story, a cautionary tale, a tale about cancellation and the cost thereof. It's April 10th, 2035, the 15th anniversary of EOA, the end of art. It's amazing that I even have access to a writing instrument or any kind of communication. I remember we were so worried about our physical selves, our bodies, so scared of dying that we were willing to sacrifice everything, to give up our freedoms, our abilities to think and to do for ourselves. We stopped reading, writing, acting, painting, loving. Meanwhile, we beat that dreaded virus and we lived. Well, our bodies did. But at what cost? Well, of course, the cost was our collective souls. When plays were canceled one by one, we were upset. But it was necessary. Collateral damage, the cost of the cancellation. It had to be done. Got to get that economy going. People are on their feet, back to work. We needed to live, you see. Shelter in place. And the museums and the theaters went out of business. The Louvre was turned into a Costco, the Geffen a flea market. Broadway became the center of porn USA. The Guggenheim, now the biggest Starbucks on the planet. It was tough, but we got over it. Didn't we? I mean, the important thing was to live, right? At any cost. Man's innate desire to survive. Here's Jack, my 5-year-old. He's happy, I suppose, though there is something missing. My wife says he stares in front of the TV for hours at a time. He can't sleep at night. I want to read him a story, but I've forgotten it. In any case, the books are gone. The libraries and the bookstores bought up by Amazon for distribution centers. But hey, goddammit, if we beat that coronavirus, that COVID-19, oh yes we did. God bless America, God bless us all. I used to be an actor, you know. Loved the theater. Not famous. You wouldn't have heard of me. Well, hell, no one's even heard of the famous ones anymore. Now, I worked at a wondrous place called Theater West. Still work there now, but it's called Bulbs R Us these days. We have Los Angeles' largest supply of lighting accessories. Come on by, we'll light you up with our discounts. It was difficult a few years back, setting up lighting bulb displays on what used to be the Theater West stage. A stage I and many of my dear friends, we were called artists then, that we used to perform on. I remember standing on that stage during rehearsals. We were taking 5, thank you 5, and, you know, just looking around and thinking to myself, my God, or Dionysus, whoever is responsible for this, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here in this theater, on this stage, performing. Being part of a group that would sacrifice everything for this moment in time, the smell of the grease paint, the camaraderie, the absolute joy of his, what Miss Russell said long, long ago, standing naked on the stage and turning around slowly in front of scores of strangers. This is what being alive was. What it was, it really was. Well, I have to go now. The news. You know, it's all news now. No fiction, no teleplay, 24-hour news. Well, they say there's an outbreak of another virus. This one 10 times more powerful than that coronavirus. More lethal. And this one comes with a catch. It's most contagious for people who live without passion, without hope, and without imagination. I expect to be gone by week's end.
Hi, I'm Dina Morone, and my piece is The Surprise. Surprise! They all shouted from behind the furniture and plants as I opened the front door of my 2-bedroom apartment and walked in holding my bag of groceries in one hand and my keys and purse in the other. Some surprise. I almost passed out, Whose bad idea was it to scare a single woman as she entered a dark room alone? That's not a surprise, that's abuse. I suddenly flashed back to my childhood. Sure, when I was a kid, I wanted a surprise party. My sister's friends had hosted one for her when she turned 12. I was so jealous and had to do everything in my power to keep the secret a secret. It was killing me not to be able to tell her that her friends were throwing her a surprise birthday party. It was such a huge success, not scary at all. After all, it was in the afternoon at our house with a bunch of girls. So when my 12th birthday came along, I begged my sister to throw one for me. She did all the planning, and I pretended I didn't know it was going to happen. 6 of my girlfriends aged 12 yelled surprise as I walked into the basement. It was anticlimactic and seemed so fake and phony, because it was. I should have won an Oscar for that performance. Another thing I remembered about that day was how the gifts I received were just okay. My birthday fell on Boxing Day. The next day was the first day of school, and everyone had spent their allowance money on back-to-school supplies. So I got things like pencils, a diary, a notebook, a binder, and worst of all, everyone had to leave the party early because the next day was a school day. So all in all, it was a total failure of a surprise birthday party. So there I stood, present day, frozen in place in my living room with my groceries still in my hand, trying to make sense of the surprise. My face forced a smile at the 40+ people staring back at me, some I didn't even know. Jan, my roommate, ran up to me and inches from my face blurted out, "So, were you surprised? Were you surprised? I told you she would be surprised. I told you she would be surprised, and I told you she didn't know." Beverly from across the room blurted out, "So, you excited to be turning 30? Aren't you excited? Wow, I can't believe you're 30. It feels like yesterday that we were 20. As I looked around the room, I noticed that everyone seemed to be way overdressed for my party. They seemed to be so formal. Some guys were even wearing ties. Once all this surprise hoopla settled, everyone quickly went right back to their respective pockets of conversations. The room was so loud. It sounded like a big walla. My ears were hearing snippets of laughter and conversation. As I went to put down the groceries, I heard someone say, "We better get going. We don't want to be late for the surprise." And another pocket said they too were leaving. And someone else said, "Yeah, see you there." And someone else said, "Hurry up." And suddenly everyone was grabbing their coats and sweaters and handbags and filing out in 2s and 3s. Jack, a guy I work with, was trying to have a conversation with me as people walked past us, interrupting our conversation. And they were saying things like, "Hey, happy birthday, great seeing you, sorry we have to go." I was so confused. Where was everyone going? I couldn't comprehend a word of what Jack was saying. Then he hugged me and said that he had to go too. Just then my roommate approached me wearing her coat and clutching an evening bag. "Jan?" I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I've been planning your surprise party for weeks, but Jeremy and Evelyn got married at City Hall today, this afternoon. That's why they're not here. They didn't tell anyone, but Elizabeth found out, and turns out they're leaving tomorrow evening for 6 months to travel Europe and Asia. So we planned an impromptu surprise wedding party for them. We need to get over there right away before they come back from visiting the family." "You're going to another surprise party?" I asked. "Well, you're invited too. You should hurry up and get changed and head over there right away. I mean, you don't want to miss the surprise." I stood there, unable to find my words. She went on, "Yeah, so sorry we have to cancel your party, but you got the surprise, and sometimes that's all that matters, right? The surprise? Don't worry, we'll celebrate another time, without the surprise, of course." And then she gave me a big hug and rushed out the door. So there I was, alone in my living room. I looked around at all the helium balloons floating about with the words "Happy Birthday" written on them, candles burning, empty glasses resting on furniture. I grabbed a glass, poured myself some Prosecco, and sat down on the couch. And I sat there for about 10, 15 minutes, trying to make sense of what had just happened. The doorbell rang. I figured it was someone who had forgotten perhaps a coat or a sweater. I went to the door, looked through the peephole. It was Reggie, my dear friend from fashion studies, now a stylist and professional drag queen. I opened the door. He threw open his arms and wrapped them around me tightly right there in the doorway with the door open. Honey, happy birthday. I can't believe you're home alone. I just took a chance you'd be here. Yeah, Reggie, I'm here alone. I said, well, I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop in to give you a big birthday hug. That hug felt so good, so real, and so needed in that moment. A whistling sound startled me, and suddenly my front door flew open, and about 20 of Reggie's drag queen friends started filing into the room screaming, "Surprise! Happy birthday!" They were all stunning, with lavish costumes, wigs, shiny shoes, streamers were being tossed in the air, confetti was raining down, and the helium balloons were being kicked about. Someone brought the music and cranked up the volume. It felt like Studio 54 in there with Sylvester about to perform. I couldn't believe the turnaround. Thank God the other party got canceled. Now, that was my idea of a party. And I do like surprises. They just have to be the right kind of surprise.
Get up early, often as early as 5 or 5:30. I wish I didn't, but I do. Usually I read the newspaper and then start working. Sometimes after a little while, I go back to bed for a couple of hours. On Sundays, I stay in bed a little later. On this particular Sunday, I was downstairs reading the newspaper about 8 o'clock when I heard banging on the front door of the house next door. Banging followed by a loud voice. "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." Now, there wasn't a window for me to see what was happening, but whatever was occurring was clearly dramatic and unusual. I am not a nosy neighbor, but I was a little concerned. "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." That was not something you hear every day. These were new neighbors, and I hoped that nothing was wrong. I tentatively went back to reading my paper, thinking that if there were an escalation of a problem, I had better be ready to go right over there. I got through the front section of the paper. I read the sports and was starting to do the crossword puzzle when there was an exact repeat of what I had heard before. There was a banging at the door, and once again, "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." Now, Besides being alarming, it was strange. How could a threat be made in the exact same way? After puzzling about this, I finished the paper, finished the puzzle, went upstairs. Barbara was still in bed. She's not cursed with being an early riser. After she awoke, I explained the goings-on next door. She said, "That's all you heard? Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door?" No. First I heard Bert banging, and then I heard, "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." And then it happened again exactly the same way. Now, while Barbara and I were trying to figure out how to make sense out of all of this, first we were interrupted. First by a loud banging, and then once again, "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." Once again, precisely the exact same thing. Barbara realized that I hadn't been exaggerating. This time, since we were upstairs, both Barbara and I were able to look outside a side window to see the front door of the neighbor's house. The door opened, a man went inside. Barbara looked at me. Both of us didn't know what to make of what was happening. We were still watching the neighbor's door when a few moments later, that same man left the house, got in his car, and drove away. Now, I'm not naturally a curious person. I allow people their privacy. I just filed away, "Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door," as an odd event that was really none of my business. Nobody appeared hurt, so I let it slide. One day, a few weeks later, a package came for the neighbors, and since no one was home over there, it was left at our house. When I saw the car in their driveway, I went over to the neighbors and rang the bell. A pleasant woman in her 30s answered. "Hello," I said. "I live next door, and this package came for you." She took it and thanked me. I felt this was an opportunity to bring up what we had been hearing that Sunday. "I don't mean to be snoopy or anything, but is your name Elizabeth?" "No, it's Rose." "Rose, I'm going to say something to you. Now, we heard it from next door a few weeks ago, preceded by some banging at the door. Then we heard it again 20 minutes later, and then we heard it again a couple of hours later. Now, forgive me if it sounds strange, but could you just tell me if this means anything to you? Open up, Elizabeth, before I take you through the door." Immediately, Rose said, "I hate that play." I got it. I now figured it out, and she confirmed what I had just understood. Rose explained they were using our house to block a play, and when the actor went outside, they used our front door as the front door in the play. That's why you kept hearing the same thing over and over. Mystery solved. It's Los Angeles. Everybody is rehearsing a play.
My wife canceled my membership to the Dollar Shave Club. So now what am I supposed to do with this shit? I mean, why would she do that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh, why don't I just go to the store and buy a razor? Because we have them shipped to the house, all right? For the past 6 years, well, at least we did for the past 6 years have them shipped to the house. I mean, why would I go out and buy a razor? Oh, why not? On principle. All right? I have them delivered to the house. They are perfectly capable of delivering them to the house. Why would I go out and buy a razor? I mean, who would do that? Not me. You know, I am pretty sure that my wife is a founding member of Amazon. I mean, we have so much crap in this house that it was all shipped here by them. And I'm also convinced that Amazon Prime was created as a thank you to my wife for all the crap that they've shipped to our house. You know, our place it's like an Arizona flea market in June, right? It's just crap everywhere and stuff you don't need. You know, pencils and pens and little trinkets and ink for the computer and posters and pots and pans and books and games and desk lamps and light bulbs and batteries and books and toothpaste and I don't know, coffee filters and Kleenex and more coffee filters. I mean, how many coffee filters do we actually need? Neither one of us drink coffee. Oh no, but razors? No, we don't need those shipped to the house. We can cancel that membership. We don't need that membership. We don't need that membership. I need that membership. All right, I am not going to the store to buy razors. All right, I have been doing this for 6 years. All right, getting them delivered to the house. I am not going to start now by going. You know, my wife knows that about me. She knows I'm not going to go to the store to buy razors. She knows that. I mean, if anything, she knows I am that stubborn. And that's the kind of thing I'm not going to do. Because she knows that I don't like change. All right? She knows that I like a routine. And the routine for the past 6 years is to have razors shipped to the house. All right? Shipped to Hoarders R Us. I am telling you, we have everything you could possibly imagine. Just, if you want something, give me a call. We probably got it. Oh, and here's the kicker, all right? Last night, Saturday night, right, I go to my wife for a little, hanky-panky. Yeah, so I start smooching on her, and she stops me and says, "No, honey, not tonight. I don't like that stuff on your face." Really? You don't like that stuff on my face? You mean the scruff that I've been growing because I ran out of razors? Then why did you cancel my membership to the Dollar Shave Club? Why did you cancel my membership?
I hate cancellations. And right now, this life feels like one big cancellation. And I have nothing to say. I sit here with nothing. And hours go by, and all I want to do is tell everyone how wonderful this has been. But I really don't have anything to say. Oh my God, did I tell you? This lovely man was standing about 5 feet away from me. And I knew for a fact, as you guys know, I'm a little special when it comes to space and, confinement, cancellation thing. I see he's about 5 feet in front of me. So I step back. And I realize that I'm 5 feet closer to the person behind me. So I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to figure it out. Is this the world we live in? And because of my personality, it's too invasive for me to wear a mask. So I don't wear one. And I don't want to talk to him because I don't want him to talk to me. Because at this point, I don't really have a case to sue. Because everyone sues each other here. Do you understand? So I stand here with nothing to say. But when I don't say what I want to say, my body gets hot. And that's fine. Because part of this cancellation and confinement is because of temperature. And the more I realize this, the hotter I get. I'm beginning to perspire. And I'm trying to pretend that I'm not. Images of ice. The time I fell into the pool in my Sunday dress. Nothing is working. My body heat is beginning to climb. And I feel a trickle of water behind my ear. Should I leave now? Because I've been standing in this line for 20 minutes. Toilet paper. And this is the only store that takes requests. And I know there is a roll of 24 waiting for me. I could leave now and save face, and then no one thinks I'm a carrier. Or Mare could use this to her advantage. I like thinking of myself in the third person, because then I don't have to be responsible. Abraham wouldn't like that, but you have to be a follower of Abraham to understand. Then the moment came. I could use my body heat to get in front of the line. Thank you, Abraham. The law of attraction is amazing. So I do the unthinkable. I cough, a fake cough, thinking that everyone will get out of my way. And it works. Well, it almost works. The man in front of me steps forward, and now we have 6 feet again, and the line begins to move. He turns around like, any other normal practicing social distance, His eyes, his lips, his chin, and his chest are perfect. I'm in love. But he's looking at me with not the same eyes. Then I saw my reflection in the mirror of the store. I was completely drenched in water. My body heat had completely taken over. I didn't look like a patient. I looked like the virus. And then I got mad. Boy, I let him have it. Of course, it was his fault that I started sweating in the first place. I know I'm particular, as you guys know, about certain things. And when I thought I had nothing to say, I had everything to say. And I still got my toilet paper.